the presence of Federico Frum, who is an American Colombian artist, works in the DC area, and is a well-known and very accomplished artist who specializes in various things. He's brought some things for us to look at, but particularly public art, public wall murals of different sorts, which has an important history in Latin American art. If you know anything about public art in and around DC, you might know that, for example, there is a concentration of wall murals in the Adams Morgan neighborhood. And those murals were originally, the first murals of those were created in the early 1970s by a pair of Chilean artists who came to the US to escape Chile's authoritarian government at that time, and brought with them the tradition of public art. Public wall art is particularly interesting because it's out there to be consumed in whatever kind of a way, and it sort of blurs the boundaries between graffiti, which is often viewed as a kind of a negative, defilement of public space, and art, right? So there's an insurgent dimension to it as well that has historically been part of that. But anyway, as we know, Federico's tag is MazPaz, and if you know Spanish, as most of you do, that's more peace. Yes, and so Federico MazPaz is going to offer his take on his art practice, and then after that we can have a very free-flowing conversation about that, particularly around themes relevant to the question of 250 plus at American, around kind of the role of art in civic life more broadly. And the way we thought we'd do this is, particularly given some of the work that we've done and that we spend a lot of time doing at the center, is focus on the relationship between migration and innovation broadly. Innovation is a word that can mean a lot of different things, but the connective tissue there is the idea of the richness that migrants bring to the United States as a diverse society, a multicultural space, and the ways in which that is also an engine of creativity, innovation, change in all kinds of ways, some of which we might be aware of, others maybe not. So with that, Federico?
Oh, thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you all for having me. I'm honored to be here and share my story. I'm a muralist, graphic designer. I say I'm a human being. People are like, oh, Federico, you're like this graffiti person. I'm like, we're just human beings, It's just like, I'm doing what I'm doing, and you all are going to do what you do. But I am an artist. If you like to click the next slide, yep. This is a photo of me in front of a mural that I did on West Virginia Avenue about 6 years ago. And ever since that, ever since about 2014, 2012, I've been painting this kind of abstract style. That kind of reminds me of my indigenous roots, Mayan roots, Incan roots, Native Americans, just line work. But I guess I'll just go through a little quick. So this is me when I was a kid. I used to always draw, and I've just been drawing ever since. You can, next slide. This is my family. So I came from Colombia. As a young kid, I was when I was born, I was separated from my family, and I was put into an orphanage, and I was adopted by this American family. And I guess you can jump to the next slide. And so this is the orphanage I came from. So I feel like my story as being an adoptee, Colombian adoptee, has very much molded who I am. This is me back in 2004 or 5, visiting my orphanage, just hanging out with all the kids. And I feel like just my story of course, being Colombian and coming to here has been this drive, and it's like a story that I keep learning more about who I am, just constant discovery of just like being Colombian American and what that means and what kind of energy do I bring into my artwork and as a human being, as a Colombian, even as an American. He jumps in the next slide. This is actually my family. So I met my family, I reunited with my family 7 years ago. And so that's my brother, my mom, my dad, my my cuñada, my brother's wife, and my two nephews. So the being reunited with my family has been like a big has definitely just been a huge like grounding moment. Seeing where my family comes from, very beautiful, but also families bring their own stuff, you know. Um, so I just want to give you guys a little background on who I am. So when I was younger, I never really thought I was an artist. I just felt like I just drew all the time. I was literally like maybe 3 or 4 years old, and I was always drawing in my house. Like I would take cardboard that was being thrown away, and I just draw on it, like Civil War scenes and World War II scenes. I don't know why, I just love that stuff. So I'd always draw that. But I really got into photography when I was in high school. My art teacher in high school was not that cool, and she was more like Federico. And she was not that. The art teacher was not cool, but my photography teacher, she was really sweet. She's a really cool woman, Joan DeMoss. She's still around. She's still doing photos, but she was really cool. She was like, Federico, you have a really good eye. And this is a photo I took when I was in Guatemala back in 2019. And this lady actually helped take care of me when I was younger. She was like my nanny. She helped like raise me. So this is in Guatemala, and just going back to Guatemala at that time was like the first time I went back to Latin America, I guess as an adult, and really experiencing uh, like the poor side and very humble life of Latin America, and really just like grounded me. So I really love this photo. This is Elena. She helped take care of me. She took care of me when I was like 1 year old to about 6 years old. Really sweet lady, and I think she's really helped me just like be who I am. So I was really into photography, and this is a project I did when I was, I think, in 10th grade. I went to LA to go like check out colleges, and walking through the streets of LA as a very Latino-based neighborhood city, you know, and I saw graffiti, and I had seen graffiti here in DC, but never kind of like I never had like, my camera with me to go take photos of like graffiti. So I made this graffiti piece. I took photos of this piece that I saw. I was like, wow, it's so cool, and just made this collage. And then about maybe 15 years later, I'm in an art show in New York, and I meet this artist. I meet Trickster, and I'm like, whoa, man! I'm like, dude, you helped inspire me. So I was just a little kid, like I said, maybe like 16 or 17, walking through LA. I find this graffiti piece. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. And it kind of like there's some power that like this mural graffiti does to me. And I remember when I first saw graffiti like in New York or even by my house. I live kind of near Arlington. I live in Arlington, and I saw this graffiti piece by like this highway, and I'm like, how the heck did this thing get there? All colorful. It was like behind this fence on this highway. Like you have to jump this fence and like paint this thing at nighttime. Who didn't like nobody saw you? So I'm like, man, how did that get there? And it's just really inspiring, you know. So I eventually moved to New York. And when I was in New York, I graduated high school and I studied art and visual technology in George Mason. But when I came to New York after college, I came to New York and I started doing my practice. I was doing 3D modeling in New York. And I was just sitting in a computer all day. I couldn't do it. I started getting this really bad headache just looking at the screen for like so long, and like I'm the type of person to be active and walking around and stuff. So I was like, I can't do this, and I started selling T-shirts in the street. And T-shirts was a really cool. Like I've met a lot of people, but it was really hard having the right size, maybe the right color, and carrying all the shirts was a lot. But my friend was like, Federico, come with me and we'll do graffiti on clothes. I'll show you how to do it. I'm like, all right, cool. So I started setting up on 42nd Street, this is Times Square, and I would also set up on Canal Street, right? Kind of like where
Yeah,
you were
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about. I know exactly where you were
That's
talking about,
so cool.
where your son works. Um, and I would sell these hats. And this is a photo which I love. And it was like these little breakdance kids came by when I was like working one day, and I think they pretty much breakdance on the subways, but they like had no money. I think they had like $10. Like I have no money, but they wanted their hats for their crew, and I was like, I got you. So I made a bunch of hats, and this is not like the best style. Like I was still kind of beginning, but like I love this photo because this represents like what I was doing in New York. It's just like being in the street and what I love about working with community. Like I would make pretty good money. I would like at the end of the one day on Sunday was when I would work there. I would walk home with like $500, $600 in cash. And for me at the time, I was like maybe
Pretty good.
I was like 25 years old. I was like, damn, I'm walking home with $500 in cash, $600. All I did was sit there all day and like do hats for tourists and like cool kids like this. So it kind of clicked on me. I'm like, man, I'm making money with my art somehow. I have no boss. Nobody's telling me when to wake up. Nobody's telling me when to go home. Nobody's telling me to leave or shut up or I'm late or something. I'm my own boss. So I really like learned how to kind of like be my own self. I think the first step into like really innovating into my life, you know? Hey there. What's up? What's up? Feel free, make yourself at home anywhere.
Yeah.
Um, so I was selling these graffiti hats. These are some of the hats, some of the few photos that I have from being in New York. I grabbed a lot of these photos when I was like off my Facebook page. All my computers have crashed from those times, and hard drives have lost. But I would do all kinds of stuff: hats, shoes, and then I would also started. I was kind of getting tired of selling like clothes. So I was like, I want to make my own paintings. So I was like, I'm gonna sell my paintings on the street. And I knew a lot of people that also sold paintings in the street. And one was my really close friend, Carson. So me and him was work together and sell our paintings on Canal Street. I also worked for Nike. After working on the street, you kind of get tired. You get dirty. The cars are going by. People are yelling at you. It's raining. It's cold. It snows. So I was like, I'm tired of kind of working on the street. So I got this project working on this bus. And that's me right here doing graphic design on this bus. What people would do is they would come and say, hey, my name is Rico. And I would design a t-shirt with their name on the bus. And then I would heat press it with different logos. And the bus kind of looked like a basketball court. So like I was like the only one doing the design work, and everybody else kind of like worked with people that would walk on the bus and talk to them. And then I got tired of that, and I got a job working in the MoMA. I was doing screen printing in the MoMA. We pretty much screen printed. If you see all of the all the typography that would go for an art show, we would literally take a screen and screen print that on the wall. So real like kind of high end work, because nowadays a lot of that is vinyl, or maybe it's like a big vinyl sticker they put on there. So that's me and my friends. This is something we painted. So I'm constantly discovering a new me. So while I was doing all these different little side projects, I was also doing graffiti in the street. I was doing graffiti. I wrote Paz. My graffiti name was Paz. I was like dating this girl. She's like, Federico, I really like the word Paz. You should write that. And I was like, that's really cool. I think that's a cool word. And it's not that long. It's kind of short. So I started doing Paz in the city, doing graffiti like that. But something about that, um, I wanted to do something bigger. And one of my friends one day was like, Federico, let's make a sticker. And he had this square format. He's like, dude, I'm about to send this out like tomorrow to the printer. Do you want to design some? And we can like go 50-50 on the design. I'm like, sure. So I came up with this idea that said MazPaz. That wasn't just Paz, it was MazPaz. And then like I felt like it meant a little bit more. It's just paz is like, okay, I think this has more of a message. So I stuck with this sticker, and we made like maybe made like 200. So I had 200 of these in New York. I started like kind of putting them in the street. I like, put them up here, and I also give them out to my friends. And so when I started doing that, it was about 2012. I was living in New York. I was getting tired of New York. I've been in New York for about 6 years. And my friend, she called me up. She's like, Federico, come to Brazil. Let's paint boats. And I'm like, what? So we went to Rio, and she had found this like port where there's all these fishermen boats. And she had figured out this, she had like talked to all of them and was like, yo, let's do this project. We're going to paint all your boats. So there I am painting this boat in Rio de Janeiro. And I also started painting other stuff. I would start painting this guy's house. This is in the middle of, like in the favela, up in the mountains. There's this like friend of a friend, and he had this house. I was like, can I paint your house? He's like, sure. So you can kind of see in there, there's a P, and there's like, this is his door. There's like an A, it's kind of hidden, and there's like the Z. So I wrote Paz in Brazil. And I just kept writing Paz in this kind of like funky style. Not graffiti letters, I kind of came up with something different. And being in Brazil, they're so open to artwork. Like there's so much problems that were going on at the time around 2012. They didn't want, like police didn't care about graffiti. They have other stuff to deal with. So being in Brazil was a perfect playground for me to go like paint anywhere I wanted. And people are so friendly in Brazil. They'll come up to you, that, hey, you want to paint with me? And we're like, yeah, we'll paint together. And they'll be so friendly. They'll have an apple. Like, you want to eat this apple with me? And then we would like share. There will be like 5 of us, and we'd all share like one apple. Or we might have some soda, and we would all just share it with random strangers. It's like, so people are really cool when it comes to collaboration. So like when I was painting this mural, this is with my friend. It's actually an Australian guy who was there, but he was real cool with collaboration. He was all like, and everybody is super cool about collaboration. So here, this wall, like, I think I would be about this big, but this is a wall that I painted, Paz. And he's like, Federico, you should make it with these like bumpy things. Don't make it straight, make it kind of funky. I was like, all right, cool. And then he painted this crazy octopus, and we did this in one day. This is a 1-day mural. And like the other side, I did all these are little like 1 day, maybe like 3-hour projects. And so while I was in Brazil, I started traveling. I was like, let me just find out South America. And so when I traveled throughout South America, like Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, Bolivia, Peru, to Colombia. And while I was traveling on a bus, I made wheat paste. I don't know if you guys know what wheat paste is. It's like paper mache, pretty much with flour and water. I would make wheat paste in like a hostel, and I had like a little bucket or something that I would make it in, and I carried this broom with me. I would carry this broom with me on the bus and like put it under like in the bodega in the part on the bottom. And I had like these posters that I would make. I made a bunch of posters with a stencil that I carried with me. So I made them with spray paint, and then I would wheat paste them, like in Peru. We're in Huacachina, Peru, like this little like oasis. And so my friends would be there, they'd take photos of me or they'd help me. So there I am wheat pasting. So I wheat paste all over in Bogota, Peru, and Bolivia. I was doing a lot of wheat pasting. So while I was traveling, I had to get away. I feel like we all have to kind of get away to come back, and really kind of, I feel like it's very important for my self-exploration, kind of get out of the United States and come back. So when I came back, I started painting projects. I made a website. This was like 2012. I never had a MazPaz website. So when I came back to the US after traveling for about 6 months, I made a MazPaz website, mazpaz.co. .co. And I started painting. I stopped doing kind of the graffiti letters, and I wanted to do something that had more of a story. So I started painting this kind of abstract style, which you will see. And that's my friend helping me paint a South Block, which my friends. Have you guys been to that stop block before? Yeah, the one right there in Arlington, right by the house. Yeah, these are my little fans right here. Big fans. My bad.
Where
Um,
where is it in Arlington?
so this is in like Crystal City
Oh, Crystal
in
City.
Amazon HQ2.
Oh, it's HQ2 area.
HQ2. You know what is
Okay.
that?
Yeah. All right.
You know what Crystal City? Have you been to the South Block there? You should. By the. Yeah, it's like
You got to go check it out.
check it out. They give out free bananas right around the corner over there at Amazon. Yeah. Next slide, please. So I just started doing projects. This is a mural that I did in West Education Center over off 14th Street. This is the completed version, and I'm sorry. And it's just supposed to represent Rock Creek Park, so different elements you might see in there, kind of abstract style. So you see some like a frog and a turtle is hidden there. There's an owl you can't really see, and the raccoon. This is a project I did over in at the mall about a few years ago, and this is like a one day project, but I really I had a lot of fun painting this. And it says Camina Descalzo, which means walk barefoot. And this event was all about like health and wellness. And I think like coming back to the simplicity of like health and wellness is like being in nature, taking off your shoes. This is an art show that I did a few years ago, which you all came to. And this is my friend and her child. And these are some of the pieces that are in the show. This is a water bottle that I designed. I don't have it with me. For Sierra Club. This is another project I did for Sierra Club, a poster that graphic design poster. What we were doing free classes. Sorry, we were doing free classes during the pandemic, art classes I was teaching. And just because people didn't have anything to do really. So these art classes were really fun. You guys participated. And if you did all three classes for a program that we were doing, you would win this poster. This is a project I did for National Geographic in their office building, a mural. This is a stamp that I designed for the U.S. Postal Service, honoring just the jaguar, which is kind of like people say is the connection between night and day. The spirits and the living. And the stamp is so small. I actually had to do I worked so hard on this, so many different designs and like drawing it small and then drawing it and then looking at it really small. But this is a really fun project. These are all the stamps. So the stamp included 4 artists. She is actually Klingit tribe from Alaska, and she's Navajo Dene. Your Greenwood, myself, and I never really got to meet him, but he's a local DC artist. Along with doing paintings and stamps and stuff, I've gotten into doing projection mapping. So this is a project we did for the portrait gallery. We're projecting our artwork onto the wall, onto the facade of the portrait gallery. This is a project I do every year pretty much for Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos.
So on the portrait gallery projection, you're across the street, and if anyone knows that area, Penn Quarter or Chinatown area, Gallery Place, whatever, what is the building that you guys are in across the street?
We're in the Martin Luther King Library.
That's
on
what
the
I
rooftop.
thought. That's what I thought. That's
Yeah.
what I thought. Cool.
So, be good, do good. It's kind of just like it's just a phrase of like, I've always tried to like give back with my work. I feel like just being Colombian, adoptee, coming from an orphanage where like food falls on the ground, kids will eat it. Some kids don't even want to eat because they're crying so much. Um, just trying to be, always been trying to, always try to stay humble and give back through my work. So this is a project. This is just like my friend, her little niece wearing my shirt during a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests back in 2000, I believe 2020. And working a lot in communities, doing murals in neighborhoods where it's like a very like diverse neighborhoods is where I really love to work. This project was not funded very well. I think maybe I got 1,000, maybe 2,000, which is great. But I mean, like some big time artists would get like 20K for this or something, you know. But just to be able to share my artwork in the neighborhood where my friends can see it, where people can see it, it uplifts people is very inspiring to me. I really enjoy that.
Where is that, in
So
Southeast,
this is on
Northeast?
14th Street in
Oh, 14th
Spring,
Street.
over in Columbia Heights.
Yeah, yeah, Columbia Heights.
And when I was telling my friends about this talk that I was having, they're like, Federico, you need to talk about this mural. So I was like, okay. But there is this bird, I cannot remember the name of this bird, but this bird is representative of a bird from El Salvador. And this community is a very Salvadorian, diverse community. So just having this Salvadorian bird, indigenous, kind of representing the indigeneity of who we are as like Latino folk, and the corn, which is like genetically part of our DNA. It's like has helped sustain us for thousands of years. And then this is also the cala flower, the cala leaf, um,
Yeah.
which is also like very inspirational to me because it's something that Diego Rivera would always paint, and just being very into like Diego, having been very inspired by Diego Rivera. I just like I love those flowers. I can paint. I try to paint them whenever I can. This is another project I did in another very Latino neighborhood called Mount Pleasant, or La Mamplesa is what we call it. And just I love another project I think I did for $1,000 or something, you know. But it gives me the opportunity to share, also practice my work, and put it out for the people. And when I painted this, the next day, somebody was walking by. They're like, "That's my mural. That's my mural." You know, just because I put this right here, you know, honoring the people that come from there, you know, and it's like a gift for me to give to them, but it's also a gift for me to be part of this community. When I paint murals, I go into these communities and I really get to learn about folks and give back. And I mean, I live in Arlington. I don't live in Mount Pleasant, so it's so cool to be part. Just kind of like traveling, even in the city that I live in, traveling, learning more about it. So always trying to do projects to support movements. So this is a project I did just to honor the movement that's going on in Gaza and supporting just different movements throughout the world. This is my nephew. This is a hat that I designed. That's him wearing it in Bogota. This is another project I did. Just representing all movements as far as like uh, making sure people are fed, you know, anywhere from in places like Lebanon or Ethiopia to here in Southeast to to Arlington. There's a food bank in Arlington I've been working with. So it's just like a universal message. And I worked with Code Pink on this design, which Code Pink, they work on a lot of like how war is not sustainable, war is not green. So my friend, she works for Code Pink. So she's like, Federico, send me a design. And she wanted to use it. So we made t-shirts out of this, posters, stickers. So it's nice collaborating with different organizations to kind of get the message out.
Oh, that's cool.
So this, I just came back from Colombia about on Tuesday, and this is a mural I did about 2 weeks ago with the community center up in the hills in a very low income part of Bogota. And so just working with a bunch of kids, what I do is I sketch it out, and then they go fill it in with their brushes or spray paint. So here, that's me helping one girl with stencils. As you can see, there are a lot of kids. There's about 35 of them that we are working with. Luckily, I have my trusty friend helping me out. I try to get a bunch of assistance, but with the help of a project here called Words, Pieces, and Life in right off Newton Street off 16th, he helped fund this project. He's like, Federico, and I was like, hey, I'm going to Colombia. He's helped me with other projects. He's like, I'm going to Colombia. You want to help support a project? And he's like, yeah, I have $500 for you. But with that, I was able to pay 3 artists and get art supplies and just help brighten up community center. I wish I had the photo of what the mural looked like before. It was just really kind of crazy, like all kinds of stuff going on. And so they were really happy with this. And those are 2 of my friends that are helping me out. Look how cool they are. And this is the neighborhood. Look, wow. They only have paved streets. It's all dirt. This is in, it's called Colibri. Colibri is in the south of Bogota. It's in Ciudad Bolivar, the neighborhood, like the big kind of region. And this is the finished product. Here is a poster that I did in Bogota, which is right here, that I helped design. A lot of my friends in Bogota are very, I'm lucky to know some really talented artists in Bogota, and they're always traveling. One of my friends, Wache, he's always traveling and creating a print in Ecuador, or he'll go to Russia and work with some artists there. So I was like, man, let me make a print in Bogota. I think, is this a video?
So what was it, a lithograph? What kind of print?
This is a screen print.
A screen print.
So this is my friend helping me print the first color right there. And here is the second color. We're just like lining up. This is my mom back in Bogota, and I just gifted her that piece. So when I think about innovation and immigration, I was like waking up this morning or yesterday, I was like, man, what about innovation and immigration do I think about? And I go back to New York, living in New York, and when you go to the deli, you ask for a sandwich or whatever you want. But I would get a sandwich, like a sub, you know? And when I would order it, it would probably be maybe a Korean dude that running the register, or maybe a Mexican, or maybe Ecuadorian, you never know. And I'll be, hey, I want to get my ham and cheese. And I'm sorry for people who are vegetarian here. Sorry, I'll try to go for a veggie sandwich. But when I would order the sandwich, after I was ordering it, I'll go watch the person making it. And most of the time, it's brown, probably Latino folk, Mexican, probably getting paid, I don't know, maybe $10 at the time, not much. And they would literally make the sandwich like this. They'd be like, and it would be this perfectly folded, like beautiful, like thing. And you would open up, and it would look like that. It's just like wash, and they would make it in like 5 seconds. And I'm like, damn, like brown folk are some hardworking people, you know. So when I think about innovation, I think about hardworking Latino folk, immigration and innovation, excuse me. I think about the sandwich, the sub sandwich. So what does innovation mean? Innovation is the process of creating and implementing new ideas, methods, or products that generate value. That's what innovation is. The thing I don't really like about it is value, the value part. You know, why does it have to be about value? La plata, capitalism. So in order to have something be innovative, it has to generate money. Okay, that's cool. When I think about innovation, I think about Bogota. I think about going back to Colombia. I think about walking the streets as a young artist. Maybe I was like 20 years old, and seeing all the graffiti all over the place. This is like maybe 2005. Seeing graffiti all over, and I'm like, wow. And in 2013, this young guy, Rafael Berraza, was killed. He was a graffiti writer, and he was shot in the back while he was running away from the police in Bogota. And it sparked a big, it was a big thing, you know? And what happened was they turned uh, graffiti into a non-criminal act. They made graffiti pretty much become illegal. Legal. Graffiti became legal in Bogota
As a result of the
as
reaction
a result of
to
him.
him being murdered.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so him being murdered opened up this pathway of like, wow, art is actually beautiful in Bogota. It's not murder people about it. It's not that big a deal, you know? So when I think about Bogota, I think about walking through the streets. This is in my neighborhood in the south of Bogota. This is the Metro Cable that takes you up to the mountain in El Paraíso, in el sur de Bogota. And when I'm walking through Colombia, anywhere in Bogota, I think about this. I see like people. I see big colorful murals. I see the mountains in the back. See the mountains right there? The city and like maybe some low income neighborhoods up there. You know, this is what I think of. And I'm like, man, how did they get up there? How did they paint that? And when I first came to Colombia, when I was really into art, probably around 2005, I saw murals like this, but people did not paint them with a lift. They did not paint them with scaffolding or maybe even a ladder. They probably didn't have a ladder, but they painted it with this. They painted it with this right here. They painted it with this thing right here. And when I think about like innovation, when I think about innovation and art and immigrants, when it comes to Bogota, I think about this. I think about this pole. See how long that is? Can I touch you? Can I touch you? I think about this pole. Can I paint you? Whoop. People would paint murals with just this pole. Imagine a big tall wall. Our walls here are not that tall, but you can paint a whole wall just like this. And there are longer ones. There are ones that are even longer. This one is not even the longest one. I could have bring a little bit longer one, but I didn't want to carry it in here. But people would do murals with just this. So imagine you're standing right here, and you have your paint on the ground, and you just dip your paint down here, get it ready, and go all the way up and roll, you know? And that is what I feel like is innovation. You know, that is the immigrant way to get something done with like nothing. Do something big with nothing, you know, or something. So that really inspired me. Just like this. This is the mola that comes from Colombia. There's a hand-sewn pattern. I should have just brought it with me. A hand-sewn pattern that is done in between the Panama and Colombia region of the indigenous people there. This is probably a technique that's been going on for thousands of years, you know? But to me, this feels like new. And people, even last night, there's a Colombian event that was going on, and the drummer, he had this beautiful shirt with mola on it, you know? So this is a very old technique that is still fashionable. It's still relevant, you know? So when I think about something being innovative, I try to go back to the old and even keep the old alive, keep it present. And in Colombia, people they have a lot to fight for. Colombia, as you all know, has had a lot of struggle. People think about Colombia as drugs and narcos and like Pablo Escobar. Colombia is so much more than that. But it is true that there has been a lot of bad stuff that's happened in Colombia, and even with the government. And so this is a mural that my friends helped paint over in center of Bogota. And it says, Las cuchas tienen razón. Las cuchas are another way to say like the grandmothers, the elderly women. Las cuchas. Las cuchas tienen razón. They are right. The grandmothers are right. And what they're talking about is in Medellin in, I think around 2013, 2014. I'm not sure about the dates exactly. Um, uh, how do I say this to not say it wrong? Pretty much, there are a bunch of bodies that were found in this trash dump in Medellin. I think they found about 8 or 10 bodies, and these were children that had been disappeared. And what the Colombian government was doing at the time was trying to fight the FARC. And they said, if I kill a FARC member, I think I get a certain amount of money or something. I'm still learning about this topic. So what the government would do is it was trying to kill the FARC. And in order to kill the FARC, and so the president would think and show that he's doing a good job killing the FARC, which he wasn't doing a good job. He was not killing the FARC. He was not having a good job. What he did is he went to these low-income neighborhoods, anywhere in the country, and he's like, hey, you need a job? And people needed work. Hey, you need a job? Come with me. I'll pay you. Get in this van. Get in the van with me. So he would load up all these young people, whoever, anybody, load them into the van. People that maybe didn't have a job. People maybe had Down syndrome. Maybe people that are blind or couldn't read. He would load them up into these vans and take them out to the country and dress them up. Like, okay, time to work. Put on this army suit. Tell people to put on the army suit, and then he would shoot them. And so over, I think it's 6,523 or something like that. 24, something like that. They know like the exact number of how many people have been disappeared. And so some of these children that were disappeared were thrown into this trash dump in Medellin, in this area called Comuna 13. And these grandmothers were like, there's bodies in there. You better go do an investigation. And finally, they did the investigation. And they found the bodies, and they uncovered this big massacre that was going on. And that's only 6,000 something, and there are many more that they don't know about, I'm pretty sure. So Colombia is political. Colombia artists, they speak up. They talk about what's going on. They don't just kind of like, oh, I'm just going to paint like cherry blossoms. Some do, but a lot of them are like, this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about real shit that's going on. Excuse my language. So I feel like, are super innovative in Colombia. Yeah, you can play it, yeah. And wow. I've been working with my friend from Colombia, my friend Wache, and we've been doing this projection mapping stuff for the Portrait Gallery. And one thing we've been working on is doing 3D modeling. So that we add this into our Portrait Gallery projection show. And this is my friend from Bogota. And what we've done is we have taken some objects, very indigenous objects. This is actually a muisca design, which comes from Boyacá, Sogamoso, Bogota, Colombia. And we turned it into 3D, and we painted it. And then I have it on my computer, my iPad, and I can just move it around. So this is something I learned from my friend in Colombia. Nobody here really has shown me how to do this. So when I think back about like trying to do something new, maybe not just for value, but being innovative, working with my people back in Colombia, just being Colombian and working with Colombian artists, I get so inspired. And this is a really cool video that I made of just like one of my little 3D pieces. Um, and just I just keep on trying to learn more, you know?
So those colors you added.
Yep.
That's crazy. Yeah. Look
So
at
what
that.
we did is we had like a pottery piece and we sent it to this guy that we know in Bogota with photos. And then he took it and he modeled that for us. So all this in Colombia kind of brings me back to like who we are as indigenous people. Even if you're from Ireland or from England, we all came from the land, you know? And there's a movement called land back, which means like come back to the land. Give the land reappropriation. Give the land back to those whose land it is. And also work the land. Um, so I feel like this movement of land back movement, coming back to the land, is kind of what I try to do with my artwork. Just honoring the indigenous kind of elements. As I said before, like I'm very inspired by Mayan art, Incan art, as you can see in the 3D model, Mayan, Incan art, uh, indigenous Native American art. I try to keep it alive. And I also try to practice being back in nature, practice being back in the land. And I think that is the most innovative thing. We are on native land. This land, remembering who we really are. Remembering the past and thinking about the future and being present. And knowing about our past, knowing we are on native land is what kind of keeps me going forward with my artwork. And the most basic element of being in nature has been like the most healing for me. I feel like we think about innovation, we think about some big fancy robot that's like gonna cook your hamburger for you at McDonald's and you don't have to do anything, or the robot will drive the food to your house, you know? That's great. But what if we're cooking our own food? What if we're growing our own vegetables? What if we're walking with no shoes on the grass? What if we're sleeping under the stars? I think we're forgetting about the most important thing, which is not just like innovation and technology and all this fancy stuff and AI, but like actually thinking about the land and the earth and coming back to who we really are. And one more side. And that's me, MazPaz. This is a design representing the Colombian and the Palestinian movement. And if you want to follow me, you can check out my work at MazPaz on social media. Thank you very much.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Federico. That was really inspiring.
Thank you. If you want, you can hop to the. And don't ever stop creating. You can hop back to the side of the turtle. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
So I had a lot of questions running through my head, prompted by all the various projects that you named, which were really diverse and engaging in all kinds of different ways with spaces and neighborhoods and communities and cities. But also sometimes, because an artist got to eat, corporate entities and other kinds of people. So when we think of you were already now talking quite a bit about it. We use this word innovation, but maybe a better word is just kind of creativity and engagement, or creativity and community, or something like that. Would you expand a little on the way that you talk about innovation as something that involves kind of looking backward and connecting the past to the present into the future.
Yeah.
So the inspiration, a lot of what for you is innovative,
Yeah.
is kind of bringing back, it
Yeah.
seems, things that have been there with us, but that we put to the side or forgotten.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I immediately think about like talking to your grandmother or talking to your elderly aunt or like listening to what that the old guy says that lives on his porch, listening to his stories. You know, I think um, I think like the that connection of like intergenerational connection is lost a lot, especially here in this country. And I think like the idea of listening to your elders and like really appreciating them and respecting them and seeing their light is really important. So when you just say that, I immediately think about like are we listening to our elders? Are we listening to what they used to say? Are we listening to the stories that they knew? Do we know about the herbs that they used to eat when they were younger and then go to CVS to go get like a Motrin IB? You know, what did they do? And to me, that's fascinating. You know, going back and learning how in the heck did they make Machu Picchu? We still don't freaking know how they made Machu Picchu. You know how they built that.
Right.
You know, the aliens came and made it. You know, so I think um, there's something about that really inspires me about the old and those beautiful practices of like the herbs and learning how to plant and grow and like something so important about that and like knowing how to fish and knowing how to drink the right water. That's totally being forgotten, and people just think they can just go to McDonald's and like get all their food or whatever, you know. Um, and I think like that the 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 teachings of the old and like honoring the old, like the indigenous artwork, just has something that really connects with me. Something that I feel is very important.
Just following that thread for a second, you mentioned your time in New York, and I partially grew up in New York as well. Some other people in the room I know, Ernesto spent time in New York. But one of the things that makes New York very different from like DC, for example, although not entirely, there are neighborhoods in DC where you see it, is porch sitting, stoop sitting, right? People
Oh,
come out and
stoop
hang out
sitting.
on their
Yeah,
porch,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and partly it has to do with like the kinds of buildings that people built at a certain amount of time, where there's a big porch, and there's a
yeah,
big stairway, and there's
yeah,
a space.
yeah,
And if you live in an
yeah,
apartment with 8 other people, going out on the porch is like liberating,
yeah.
but also it's like a community connection opportunity. And I remember when we moved our oldest kid into his first Bushwick apartment, it was a Puerto Rican apartment. I mean, it was all Puerto Rican. So that
No
meant he
way.
had great smells,
Yeah.
right? And there was a lot of porch sitting. And he
Mm,
still knows all those families.
mm.
Like, because what
Yeah,
happened was, you didn't just come and go.
yeah,
You stopped and talked for a while and sat. Someone gave you a plate and you had
yeah,
some food,
yeah,
And so I mention that because I'm wondering if, as someone who works in communities and in neighborhoods where the art is part of the space in the world that is built there, do you think of those kinds of ways of connecting people when you make like a public wall mural type project, like what you were showing for what you were doing in Bogota? It
yeah.
seemed like it was galvanizing community, but also creates opportunities for for stoop sitting.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the best part about painting a mural, and even I remember painting a mural in the Lower East Side, like right off like Forsyth or something, like not
Oh yeah,
too
yeah,
far
yeah.
from where the
There we
gallery
go.
is.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I painted this mural in Manhattan, and like the cool thing about it was I could always go back to it. I'll go back to this mural with my friends, and there's a stoop on the other side of the wall. Like the wall is right here on the other side of the street. There's like stairs, and we would sit there and maybe get some juice or get some sandwiches or something, and sit there and watch the wall and kind of like just talk about it and be like, hey, remember when we painted that? It was a bunch of apples that we had to do for this project, And you remember when we painted that, and like, oh man, that came out ugly. But it was just like it made me feel like I was at home. You know, I could
Yeah,
go somewhere where I felt like I knew the people that were walking by there. You know, I had
yeah,
met them. You know, and like, and there's the wall that I painted, and I had a place to sit, enjoy my artwork. It was like an outdoor gallery. Not to
yeah,
say use that term is used a lot, but it was like an outdoor gallery where I could hang out, and I knew the people, and I felt comfortable. And if people walk by and they're looking at it, I could be, hey, you know, I helped paint that. You know, and they would feel, and then I would meet people. So yeah, there's definitely the community aspect of that, or like definitely the connection of meeting people. And then like that one mural that I did for La Malplesa,
listen.
you know, like painting in the neighborhood I got to meet people that lived in that neighborhood. And actually my art studio used to be in that neighborhood, but I didn't really meet, there was like a block up. So I didn't really meet those people. So like while I was there painting, I got to meet the actual people that lived in the block, and like a lot of like unhoused folks, you know, and a lot of um, like neighbors and stuff. So it's I love it. You're outdoors, you're with people, and you're sharing, you know, something for them.
That's awesome. Does anyone else have a question or something they'd like to ask you? Did you have a question, or you were just putting your hand up? I saw her go like this. I was like, oh, yeah.
Well, just one question. Uh, what is your creative process before you hit the wall?
What?
Your creative process before you hit the wall? What happens in your mind? I mean, for
Yeah,
example, I wanna when you listen, I wanna make a painting about what's happening in Gaza. How do you get there?
yeah,
The idea, and then go to the wall.
yeah. So, I mean, a lot of my work I've realized has to do with family. You know, like I was separated from my family at birth, and I reunited with my family. I'm adopted from Colombia. So there's always been this kind of theme of family, mother and child, or father and child, or like families hugging, or people together close, you know. And I feel like that theme kind of resides in everything. You know, like there's that one design with the feed the people, not the war. And she's like holding her child, and she has her vegetables, you know. So a lot of my artwork, I start with just being honest, being true to what I want to say. You know, like keep families together. You know, it was just actually the name for like the non like immigration non ICE movement. Like keep families together is like the slogan for like protecting undocumented folks. You know, so like keeping families together has always been important. So like you see it on a lot of my murals is like it might have to do with food, it might have to do with Gaza, it might have to do with like with that design for Gaza. Like it's the woman with the hijab and the kufia, you know, kufia pattern, but she's holding the child, and there's like the olive branch, you know, the olive trees is sacred to Palestine, you know, so it's just like taking themes of like what the topic is, and also like, man, we got to keep our children with their parents. We got to keep our children. If it's a safe home, if it's a safe home, let's keep them together. You know. So I always kind of meld the two. Yeah.
Other questions?
You mentioned talking or teaching children in education centers, community centers. What is the one thing you hope for them to take into their adulthood about art, about culture, and your work?
Yeah. It's a great question. I feel like every day, you know what the kids are doing? You know what they're doing? They're this all day. You know, they don't know how to do anything else. Like kids, for them to like stand on a ladder, like they're scared. They're like, I don't want to stand on a ladder. Like they don't know how to do it. They never stood, or they never held like a brush, you know, or they don't even know what a roller is, you know. Um, so I think like the first element of them working with me is just kind of like put the phone down, put the phone down, get out the brush, and working together. I mean, do you see that video? Like the kids are like mashed in together, like collaborating with each other, knowing that if they make a mistake, if they painted this with red, it's okay. Just let it dry. We're gonna paint over it tomorrow. You know, we'll paint over it in a few minutes with different color. So I think there's a lot of problem solving and just being free, like you're free to express yourself. A lot of experimentation, like with the spray paint, we were doing stencils. Like they've never done that. It's just like it's like taking you and maybe you never bungee jumped. I'm not saying doing a mural is bungee jumping, but you're doing something new, you know. And so for a lot of them, it's something new. And I'll show them like, look, this is the design I have. And sometimes it'll be this little piece of paper, or it'll be like this sketch that I have on my phone. Like this is the design I have, which is pretty much what it is. I can show you the sketch that I had, and I would show it to them. Like, here's the sketch. Like, oh, wow, okay. So maybe like what's really cool is when I do those projects, there's 35 kids, but maybe there's like 2 or 3 that are like meant to be a muralist, right? And like we didn't know it, but there they are, like finishing their whole spot. Federico, what can I do next? Like, oh, okay, here, like go do that color. Federico, I'm done. Or like, okay, and like maybe I'm totally done with the mural, and they still want to help. I'm like, hey, we'll go paint, go paint a flower over there for me. I want to put a flower right there, and they'll go do it. So it's like beautiful when you can like expose, you like you know when you sift like the flour, you sift the flour and all the flour falls out, but there's still those chunks. Like those little chunks are like the artists that you find when you're doing these murals. Like you're a freaking artist. And then I tell them like, yo, at the end of the day, like, yo, you're an artist. You like to create. So like that's the beautiful thing. You can find these kids that are like have this talent. They don't even know it, or maybe they're from a low income neighborhood, or like maybe their parents are working all day and they don't have time to like sit and draw with them. But I can be right there, like you are an artist. Like don't be scared. Keep creating. Show me what you've been drawing. You know, like so. I really like to be able to help them that way. And then I think also just like the community projects are like important, just to, like you should have seen the wall. That wall was messed up, man. It's like ugly. It was really ugly. I'm not saying like the mural that I did for them, I had to design really quick. It's with 35 kids and I had that much time. But I think that mural was better than what it was before, you know? And I think it just it also got me to meet those people in the community. I got to meet the community center leader. You know, he's like, man, let's do this again. What can we do better? Where can we work out? And I got to bring my friends to come help me. And I paid them. You know, some of them, they work as artists. You know, they're not making a lot of money sometimes. I got to pay them, like, you're here, let's have fun. And like, let's work together. So we make, as corny as it might sound, but we made a memory and I know these dudes are great for working. So when I come back to Colombia, I can hit up my friend Richie, I can hit up Hasmin, I can hit up Ruben, and we can do something cool. You know?
Do you ever hear from people who you recruit into one of these collaborative projects after it's done? Do you hear from them again?
Oh yeah, I mean, like all the time. Like after I did this project, the Inticoa, that's what it was, the community center. They did like all these really nice. They did a really nice video. I meant to kind of download it, but they did a really nice video of the kids
Oh,
working
cool.
and like being thankful and talking about the mural. Like, oh, this. They're like 2 kids that are like go walk and explain. Oh, well, there's a turtle there. Oh, and there's a dove, and like there's the community. And what does that mean? So like, um, I think it helps. It also helps them, and it's empowering to know that they're not forgotten about.
Yeah.
You know, they're like people came to go visit them, and they met an artist, a bunch of artists, and they like people care about them. You know, and sometimes maybe it's like corny that might sound, but it's really true that like people are. It's not. They're just not seeing the same people in their like in and the neighborhood is kind of like it's kind of like run down. It's like a tough neighborhood, but to go there and bring some light to it, I think is really really cool.
Mhm. Other questions for Federico? Yeah.
How did you get into muralism as compared to like other forms of art? What drew you to it?
You know, I think it's just like seeing graffiti as a younger kid and like going to New York and like seeing the graffiti in the street there. And also like in my neighborhood, there was some graffiti I would see and I was like, how did they get there? How did they make that? It was just like the the world of like they used to say the underground, like underground hip hop or something. It's kind of like it's like this thing that you like we didn't have internet at the time. So in order to learn about it, you had to either go do it yourself or like some people learn about doing graffiti by just going out doing it, and then they meet people like while they're like in the street and stuff that also do graffiti. So like I learned about doing murals by doing graffiti because I would literally like I would do a sketch like on a pencil, like on paper or something. I would do like a little sketch, like a little graffiti piece, like this. I would have like little that says Rico. I would do like a little graffiti piece like this in my sketchbook, and then like take this take this out to the street with me and like paint that on the wall. You know, and like I didn't have a projector. I didn't know about the grid system. You know, I did that just like sketching on the wall with a spray paint. So like doing that, taking this design and bringing it to like a whole wall like that big, like that is what helped me like take something small and go big. I know there's one artist, he literally does these tiny little drawings, like literally this big. Like he'll do like a tiny little drawing this big, I swear, a drawing. And then he'll do a huge massive mural on the street. So I think it's just kind of beautiful to be able to like I don't know. I would see graffiti and I wanted to do it. It's something in my heart. I was just like it's like if you see like a really cool like recipe and you're like, I want to make that. You know, it's the same thing.
I really like how it's also community oriented and you bring other people into it. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, thanks. You know, like the as a working as an artist, this is my own artwork. Like I'm the only one that can kind of make it. But luckily, I kind of been able to come up with a style where like, and I need people to help me. I don't want to work by myself. I want to work with other people. Some people are just in their studio by themselves all day, like in a studio. They don't even go outside. So like, it's really nice to be able to do studio work, do mural work, have conversations, you know, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. This has been super interesting.
Oh, thank
One
you.
thing I just wanted to say, I really like how like I love the elements of indigenous culture and histories you've incorporated into your art. And I believe you said you were adopted by an American family.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious how you connected with those things growing up, and decided to kind of incorporate them into your art and photography. And I
Yeah.
guess also kind of connecting us back to the conversation about 250 America and kind of this diverse society we have that's also increasingly polarized, and we're seeing more tensions, or it seems like we're seeing more tensions
Yeah.
between kind of different, of course, like left wing and right wing, but also just kind of different cultures and systems and belief. So I'm curious how you think this conversation about indigeneity and bringing that, like,
Yeah.
centering that, would maybe benefit us as a society, especially right now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, great question. Like, um, the mola that I had shown is like these little tapestries. It's about this big, and I grew up with my mom putting them in our house. And so when I was a little kid, I would look at them and like it gave me a sense of like who I am, you know. And so like looking at the mola inspired me to know like who I am, like as a Colombian person. Like the mola reminds me of being Colombian. It's almost like this. This is what we call una bolsa, mochila. It's like Colombian, very Colombian thing. And kind of having this makes me feel like I'm Colombian. I also really like it. It's very helpful, you know. But like So looking at the mola kind of was grounding for me. So I would take the mola and I took the line work from the mola and kind of like try to make my own artwork, my own stories. Like they say with each mola, it there's a story for each mola, like a creation story, honoring like the fish or honoring the water, the elements of the air or something. You know, they say each mola has a special story. You know, so I always, as there's something rich about that that makes me feel like, okay, I'm not just like in AU University in this like fancy building. I'm also like this element of the earth, you know, when there's more to us than just like what we're looking at. So like looking at the artwork would ground me, and being adopted from in an American family, I felt very much alone. I felt very alone a lot of time. I felt very much like not understood. Like it's a different culture. Colombian culture is very warm. Like most families, it can be very toxic too, you know, but it can be very warm and very like we need to be together. Let's look like we're all gonna go to the grocery store. We're all gonna come back. We're all gonna eat together. We're all gonna look out for each other. Like that's a kind of a typical thing. In America, it's not like that. It's different. It's more like, okay, like I don't know, it's the warmth is different. My mother, I love her, but she's not the type of person to hug. She's not a touchy feely person, you know. And like I had to learn that. So I guess what I'm saying, like when I learned more about Native American artwork and Native American culture and how like the gods for them are the seasons. The god is the rain. The god is the sun. The god is the moon, the water, like the turtle, you know, that helped ground me. It helped me like see, wow, there's something powerful that's not like it helped me see God, I guess. Help me see there's a powerful something powerful that I can like look up to like feel like home. You know, so like I take that idea of like the earth and the sun and nature and it's like my healing element. So when like I don't know if you know about Standing Rock or the Dakota Access Pipeline, this is like a pipeline that they were trying to build through a Native American for a Navajo, through a Native American Standing Rock, like this land native over in Dakota in
I
North
think it's
Dakota.
the Sioux peoples
Oh,
primarily.
it's
Yeah,
Sioux
yeah, yeah,
people.
yeah.
So they're trying to build this pipeline through the land, and it was going to go through this lake. And pipelines like are like 100% sure to break and spill, like pipelines. So like they don't want this to go through their land. Like you don't want it to go through your house. You know, like so like working on this project in 2016 for Dakota Access Pipeline, I worked with a lot of Native people, and I saw their fight. I saw their like connection to earth. I saw their connection to spirit and how like it drove them, you know, and it was like their medicine, you know. That's what they call it, like the medicine, you know, and like it helped ground me, it helped me wash, like God is right there in that tree, in the air, the sun, like there's a higher power. So like I try to bring that into my art, you know. I try to honor that, you know, like in this piece right here. This is like the four faces. I did this design in like 3 hours. Like I had to do it really quick. But it's like the four faces. It's the hand. The hand is like to give. Hand is to receive. You know, I always love hands. And then there's the dove, the peace doves, you know, and the little mariposa, the butterfly in the middle. Honoring whatever you wanted to honor.
That's so cool.
Migration, evolution, change, you know.
What is it by the four faces?
The four faces?
Uh-huh.
What I mean by it?
Uh-huh.
You know, I really love the symmetry and how it kind of turns out to kind of be this heart. And it's also the woman. This is like the woman that I would draw. If you see, she kind of has the long hair. Her hair is kind of coming down. So I thought I'd just like represent the woman, almost like the four corners, the different four elements of the earth. You know, it's just like it can be kind of what you feel it like it, but I just like the energy that it gives. You know.
Yeah, That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Other questions for Federico? Well, all right. Well, I'm liking your socks today, by the way, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, me too.
So throughout your career, you've been able to work with like brands like Nike. If at all, how does that change your creative process? Like, do you get notes from them, or are they just hands off?
I don't like working with them. It's like, I'm joking. I hope they don't ever see that.
We'll eliminate that from the video.
Yeah, cut that out. Like when I worked for Nike, like I would walk into the Nike place and they wouldn't look at me. They would look at the shoes. Like, what kind of shoes? Oh, you have sandals on? They're like, oh, you got you got white sandals on? Those white? See? Oh, you got white sandals. Okay. They would look at me like that. And I was like, I didn't have like fancy shoes when I lived in New York. I try to have nice shoes, but they probably have paint on them or something, you know? And so like there's a very materialistic kind of like cultural, like corporate stuff, you know, and people thought they were super cool, like, oh, I work at Nike, I'm like cooler than you and stuff. Like, gosh, whatever. You know? So like it was cool to work there and like get to know we had this crazy technology. We had like a printer that would make like embroidery, that would do like embroidery. So I could make an embroidered patch. And then we had this one thing that would do like laser cut. So I could take like cloth like this and I could laser cut like one of these designs. And then like we had like heat press. Oh, we had this printer that would do DTG, which would like print directly onto a garment, direct to garment. It would print directly onto a shirt or a hat or whatever, or like a jacket. Like we had all this crazy technology. It was just super cool. I'd never seen this before. Like, wow. But it's just like the people were just like, you know. I would almost rather just work with the community center in South Bogota than work with them, you know. I got paid, okay, you know, but the money is not always everything, you know.
But on the contrary, how was it working for an organization like Roots, right? Also, large corporations, they direct a lot of their.
Roots was they're kind of Bamas too. They weren't that cool. When I worked for Roots, I did a project for Roots Canada, and like they were cool, but like they're like, Federico, we need the artwork right now. I'm like, I'm hand drawing this artwork. Just like, give me a minute, you know, I'll get it to you soon. And like, they were never really friendly. They weren't like personal people. When I worked for National Geographic, they're cool, you know, but they never even came out to visit me when I painted the wall. Like I found out the director, like I'm painting the wall right here, and the director's window was right there where he was sitting. So when I'm done with the mural, like going home. Like I had everything packed in my car. The woman, like this one woman, she's like, oh, do you want to meet the director? I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, where's he been? Like I met him before, like on Zoom. And he's like, oh, come into my office. And I walk up to the office. And like, dude, my mural is right there, man. Like, you never come and said hi to me. Like, say hi to me, man. Like, what the hell? Or send me a photo. Like, you have a real cool angle. You could have sent a photo. I don't know, man. That's just like it's almost like the Colombian way and the American way. It's like he was too busy to say hi to me or even think about like, I don't know, bring me a juice or something. Say what's up, you know? Come say what's up. So
yeah.
I think the more I just like working with. I want to get paid doing projects, you know, but sometimes it's like I get paid doing like little smaller projects. I do a lot of little small projects for like small organizations, and that kind of helps me pay my bills. But if I work for bigger corporate projects, I'll probably get paid, man. People get paid doing that stuff. And I did work for a really great company. I worked for Arc'teryx, and like they like paid me well, and they're like, do whatever you want, and they send me a bunch of clothes. I have jackets and hats and stuff from Arc'teryx. So that was like a really cool company. So some are really cool, you know.
There you go.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do you design your own tattoos, or does someone else do that?
Oh,
A
that's a
little
good
bit of
question.
both. A little bit of both. This is actually one of my designs. My friend, he's a tattoo artist. He was like, man, I'm gonna tattoo you today. So I just went to his shop. I didn't know what I wanted, but I really wanted I thought I'd make some houses, kind of represent like my mom, my dad, and I. So kind of like these are like my little village, you know.
Yeah,
And then I
nice.
have tattoos on my thighs right here, which I tattooed myself. I was
Oh,
tattooing for a while, so I figured I should learn how to tattoo myself.
that's challenging
So
because you got to do it like inverse from how people are going to see it, right?
yeah, that is not even the hard part. It's just like sitting there and tattooing yourself. Like, that is the hard part. I think and I got like one more on my ankle that I designed, and like there's this real cool tattoo that I did. My nephew did a drawing. My nephew did this drawing,
Oh, that's
and I
awesome.
told him I was like, I'll get this tattooed. Like I'm get, huh? Oh, she's gonna do a drawing for me? Okay, yeah. What's she gonna do for me? She's I don't know. Yeah, she's a really good artist. These are both really good artists. So I'm excited to see what tattoo you make for me.
All right.
Yeah.
That's great. I have a question that's just kind of a follow-up to your question, which is, and it's about public space again. So given that, the past year has been eventful to say the least, and that
Yeah.
one of the aspects of this past year has been, like invading public spaces has been a theme.
Yeah.
And so when you think of ICE and, the very punitive approach that this administration has taken,
Yeah.
what does that mean for public art? What does that mean for the potential of it, but also for the possibilities of even engaging in those kinds of expressive forms, when we're talking surveillance and monitoring and ICE presence and all that stuff. Has that impacted you in any way, or has that caused you to think or rethink how you're doing what you do, or no?
Like I think like definitely yes,
Sure.
Uh, just even like I know speaking up about topics like I have a friend, she's a pretty hardcore activist and she does a lot of like um actions.
Hmm.
So she'll go to Congress when like what is the border Barbie? What's her name?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Nome,
Yeah,
yeah.
Christy,
When
no.
Christy Nome would be sitting at the podium when they're like talking to her, trying to question her, my friend would jump out and like with banners behind, like say like all this stuff like against Christy Nome. And she would get carried out of Congress. They pick her up and carry her out. She would wear like short skirts. So like the men like
Or
don't
like,
touch her, they like that's her trick. But like Trump now has like been going. He's like trying to go after these so-called organizations. Like she works for Code Pink, and so Code Pink I think is one of the organizations he's trying to go after.
Oh.
So like, and I do work for Code Pink. I
Yeah.
do stuff for them, and I do work for other organizations. So like she has like my friend is like if her name is Olivia. She's like, if Olivia, our friends are like, yo, if Olivia gets thrown in jail, like everybody's gonna fight for her to get out, because she's really well known in the city and stuff. But like, that's not gonna happen for everybody. Olivia's she's a white female, white woman, so she might have more privileges of getting out of jail and not getting pressed for a hard time or not getting like treated badly. She just went to Cuba and with a delegation of people, and all the people that came back from Cuba, they all got like brought in and interrogated, and their phones like went through all their phones, and the one black person that went to Cuba, they took his phone. All everybody else, they let them take their phones back. But it's like just like kind of a bad racist stuff like that is going on,
Yeah.
and the kidnapping of like undocumented people is real. So like, and I'm technically naturalized citizen because I came from Colombia. I was adopted, but I'm actually naturalized. So like, I don't know how my status is. So it's all up in the air right now. We don't freaking know. Like, do I stop making artwork? Do I speak up? Do I get a good lawyer? Do I keep making artwork? I don't know. You know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I don't really know what to do. I just try to like keep doing what I'm doing and play it out. But when I came to the U.S. right now, when I just came in, I was worried that they might like go through my laptop or might go through my iPad or something. I've been worried about that before, but they didn't even care. They're just like, oh, go through. They just, oh, you were in Colombia, you saw your family, stamp. I was like, the easiest way I got through this time.
Yeah.
But sometimes they hound you or like.
Yeah.
And it was the black dude that I saw. Sometimes if it's a white guy, they're like assholes and they're not polite, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Other questions for Federico? Well, Federico, this has been fantastic. You've given us a lot of time very generously and really gone into the details of your process, and some of it is like incredible. And we really appreciate how you connected the personal to the public and the art. So it's a fantastic presentation, and we really appreciate it. So let our round of applause for Federico.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome, man.
Thank you. I also have some prints available if you're interested or any other questions. I'm happy to.
And let's do a group photo with Federico.
Oh, let's do let's do that. Can we do that?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
What's one of my favorite?
Like rituales.
Oh, I don't know. I do like that one.
Do you
a
have
lot.
favorites?
Yeah, I have some favorites, I think.
I always wonder that.
I don't know. It
I always
always
wonder that
changes.
about artists. You know, it's like, what of my children do I love more? You know?
Luckily, I don't have that problem right now.
Okay,
Hey, muchas gracias.
so they can be seen.
Hey, come over here. What's up?
Get over here.
What? Hola, hola.
Ah, pues sí, para que estés ahí. Oh, you guys set up. Ok. Gracias. Gracias. Vete la foto. Ajá.